One of the most important things you can learn and master when playing ESO is your skill rotation. While it may look different from role to role, DPS, tanks, and healers will all have some sort of rotation to work on. Well, I've been getting a lot of requests lately to make a video covering some healer rotation tips, and I think that's a great idea. So my name's Doc, your host for all things healing, and in this video I'll be bringing you 5 tips for mastering your healing rotation. Tip number 1, pre-buff and open strong. Let's start with what happens before and right at the beginning of a fight. Remember that as a healer, most of your skill interactions will involve your teammates. This means that you can get the vast majority of your kit up and running before a fight even starts. I tend to find that the initial pull is one of the most dangerous parts of a fight. One stray enemy that the tank hasn't pulled yet can really do a number on your teammates in higher difficulties. So having your heals and buffs up before the pull happens can really be a difference maker for your party, and it can also make maintaining your rotation just a little bit easier. The most important things you want to keep in mind when pre-buffing is going to be the sources of minor intellect and endurance, like the Templar's Radiant Aura, things like sticky heals over time, like Radiating Regeneration or Echoing Vigor, and group-wide defensive buffs like the Warden's Expansive Frost Cloak. As the pull is beginning, assuming we've done our pre-buffing, I usually start by dropping my AoE heals, hitting the DPS with a combat prayer, and then it's on to tip number 2. Prioritize skill uptimes. Whether you're trying for a world record heal parse or just a perfect 100% uptime on your buffs, the thing you'll need to get good at is your skill uptimes. This means paying attention to the duration of buffs, debuffs, AoE heals, sticky heals, everything. This will probably be the easiest part of our rotation to practice though. You can literally go anywhere and just practice. And because your buffs and heals will usually apply to you as well, you can watch your own uptimes and learn what skills you'll need to hit pretty often and which ones you can just let go for a little while. For example, some skills like the Warden's Budding Seeds will need to be reapplied fairly often, while other skills like the Templar's Extended Ritual can be left alone for a little while. There are plenty of tools, both in-game and external add-ons, to help with this. Fortunately, the in-game tools do a good enough job, but I personally really like using the add-on Action Duration Reminder. It does a good job of tracking and informing you when one of your skills is about to run out. After all of that, though, I'll admit to you guys that it's never as easy as it sounds. Sure, you can get very good with your rotation, and you should. The thing is, though, that you'll likely never have a truly perfect rotation in practice because healing is arguably the most dynamic role in the game. Your rotation can and will get quote-unquote messed up, and I use that term loosely, when teammates are forced out of position and you need to reapply your AoE heal, or maybe you need to activate some of your abilities more than once, or more importantly, the thing that tip number 3 will be talking about, that being anticipating heal checks. Like I mentioned just a second ago, there are plenty of things that will cause you to change your rotation, even just a little bit, and heal checks are by far the biggest culprit. Heal checks are exactly what they sound like. They're mechanics designed to force your healers to place their focus almost exclusively on healing up certain allies or even your full party within a certain amount of time. Failing heal checks can be as inconsequential as one person going down, but in some instances they can also wipe the entire group if not taken care of. 2 of the most common examples of heal checks are the Baneful Mark mechanic and the Frost Tomb mechanic. Both of these mechanics will place a negative effect on an ally or allies, and the way to clear both of these mechanics is to completely heal your teammates back to full health. Now, these mechanics and several others will take your focus off of your traditional rotation, but remember that being able to anticipate these won't disrupt your rotation too much. When you know that your teammate is about to be hit with a heal check like Bane, you can apply that rotation of skills to your teammate early to beat that heal check quickly and get back to healing your group. Speaking of anticipating things, let's move on to tip number 4, that being knowing your passive cooldowns. And when I say this, I'm mainly referring to things that you need to knowingly activate. Things like synergies and passives that generate ultimate. Synergies and passives like those are extremely beneficial, and being able to take a mental note of when you should be throwing these things out can help you get even better at your rotation. For example, we'll talk about Energy Orb. That synergy provides allies with some resources. Did you know, though, that Orb Synergy has a cooldown of 30 seconds per player? Did you also know that that 30-second cooldown is also shared with the Templar's Luminous Shards synergy? Sure, Energy Orb and Luminous Shards are still useful on their own even without the synergy, but understanding these cooldowns can help you know which skills to prioritize at certain times. If you're having difficulty figuring out some of these cooldown times, there are add-ons for that as well. I don't personally use them because I don't think it's necessary. The skills are good even without the synergies, but just even having a rough understanding of these passives and when you should use them in your rotation can also help you with some of the other tips on this list. For example, when I know my teammate is about to get hit with a Frost Tomb, I throw a heavy attack with my Restoration Staff into my rotation to proc Essence Drain, which will give us major mending. Speaking of heavy attacks, that brings us to our last tip. Heavy attacks are okay. I know, a blasphemous thing to say. Many healers will tell you that you should never include heavy attacks in your rotation, and to an extent they're right. Heavy attacks should not be a regular part of your rotation. But here's the thing. As you get better with your rotation, you'll have more opportunities to use them. When you've got all the skills in your bar active and you've got a few seconds before you need to reapply Combat Prayer, throw in a heavy attack. If there's a heal check coming, throw in a heavy attack beforehand for the major mending. Heck, sometimes your build will require you to use a couple heavy attacks, particularly if you're running Rojo. Again, all of this just to say that if you're finding you've got good skill uptime, try to throw in a heavy attack. There's more benefits to them than just restoring some resources. In conclusion, I wish there was a one-size-fits-all guide that I could give you for the absolute perfect healing rotation, but everything from your class to your build to mechanics and more will all play a part in that rotation. Healing is a very dynamic role, and I know I just hit you guys with a lot of information, but let me just summarize my main points real quick. When it comes to mastering your healing rotation, pre-buffing and getting your skills applied early can not only be a good way to make your rotation easier, but also to keep your team alive. Once the fight begins, watch your duration timers and know which skills you'll need to apply often versus which ones have a longer uptime. Your rotation will never be perfect, however, because things like group movement, targeting limitations, and heal checks will force you to adapt on the fly. Just remember that there are cooldowns that we can't always see, such as our synergies. Oh, and don't be afraid to throw in a heavy attack if you have a moment. I think that pretty much sums it all up. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. Let me know if these tips helped you, and if you have any specific questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. I've still got more builds and tip videos coming, so make sure to stay tuned for those. Don't forget to subscribe and check out the link below to follow me on stuff and join my Discord server. I'd also like to take a moment to thank my Patreon members Dylan Stewart and Sharni Lee, as well as my YouTube members Austin Anderson and Durgy. Thank you guys for your continued support, and it means so much. Finally, I think all I've got left to say is that I've been Doc. Take care of yourselves, be good to others, remember that practice makes perfect, and I will catch y'all in the next one.